What's up, primates? Coming at y'all with another video. Today we're gonna be looking at the 15 foods that are banned in America. This should be interesting. I've never watched this top 5 best channel, so hey, we'll see. But let's get into it.
Who doesn't love eating? I for one do, although I'm not really into the exotic. Also, I have a bit of a weight problem. Some exotic foodies in the US, however, won't be able to try any of these delicacies. Today we're going to talk about 15 foods banned in the US. The food item on number 1 is probably too much, even to the most foodie of foodies. Stay tuned to find out what that is. Number 15. Shark fins. We start off this list with something that isn't totally banned in the United States, but
Hey, y'all eating shark fins? I feel like one of y'all have eaten some shark fin before. I've never eaten shark fins. I've eaten gator though. Gator's good.
The shark enthusiast in me thinks it should be banned everywhere. Believe it or not, shark fins are not entirely banned in the US. Currently, only 12 states uphold an official ban on the sale of shark fins. However, the act of shark finning itself has been illegal in US waters since 2000. Shark finning is banned as it is considered an act of animal cruelty because
I wouldn't even want to eat a shark, to be honest. Ugh. Those things, ugh. I don't like shark.
it involves the slicing of fins off live sharks, simply to toss them overboard and endure a horrific demise. Still, 10 of the 12 states that ban the sale of shark fins still allow some restaurants to serve the meat. Shark fin soup is actually considered to be a luxury dish in several Asian countries, especially over in China.
It would be kind of primal to eat a shark, though, or at least a part of the shark.
Number 14. Aki Fruit. Another food item that is banned, but not really banned, is the Aki Fruit. Aki is a national fruit of Jamaica. However, when it's unripe, the fruit contains high levels of the toxin hypoglycin A, which inhibits the body's ability to release blood glucose. This can cause people to fall into a state of hypoglycemia, a condition where glucose levels are too low.
Bro, these look like maggots or something. Oh my gosh, I wouldn't even want to eat. Ugh, Jesus Christ.
Which can induce vomiting, ultimately cause dehydration, and even result in death. Importation of the raw fruit was banned by the FDA in 1973, but you can still purchase canned or frozen Aki fruit in the US that have been cleared to have a low enough concentration of the toxin. Number 13. Sassafras Oil. While the root bark of the sassafras plant has historically been used by Native Americans to treat illness including fever and rheumatism, the oil from sassafras lends a different result. There is a compound in sassafras oil called safrole, which is a known carcinogen. If you don't know what a carcinogen is, well, they're substances that have been proven to cause cancer in humans. The FDA set a ban on sassafras oil back in the 60s.
Is it really a carcinogen? I mean, I'm not a scientist, but I don't know.
But again, this is not a complete ban. Extracts from the roots of the plant are still legal as long as they do not contain safrole. Number 12. Ortolans are tiny songbirds. I can literally hear you asking right now, who in the world would want to eat a songbird? Well, as it turns out, the French. The tiny red songbird was a former French delicacy, having been exclusively served to royalty and wealthy gourmands. Selling of ortolans became illegal in France only in 1999. This was 20 years after the EU deemed it a protected species. The US also banned the selling and importation of bird, which measures out to be the size of a thumb, weighing
What's a bird? Like a chicken nugget.
less than an ounce. Number 11. Foie Gras. Here come the French again with their controversial eats. Foie Gras may be a celebrated delicacy of French cuisine, but the way it's made...
There's some nasty food in this world, bro. And people niggas just be eating that shit like it's candy.
It is very unethical. It is why the city council in Chicago placed a ban on the production and sale of the dish from 2006 to 2008. More recently, the state of California officially banned the sale of the delicacy after former attempts had been challenged in previous years. Foie gras is the fatty liver that comes from either ducks or geese. The liver is fattened by force-feeding the animal with grain and fat until the liver swells. As one could imagine, this is so uncomfortable for the bird that they begin to...
Don't let me catch one of y'all eating one of this. Don't let me catch one of y'all eating this.
tear out their feathers or even injure one another out of distress. A nationwide ban has yet to be enforced. However, it may be on the horizon with California's successful ban just last year. Number 10. Kinder Surprise Eggs. Those who have traveled in Europe know how popular Kinder chocolate is, but the main reason it hasn't gained traction in the US is because not all of Kinder's products are very legal here. I
feel like I've had one of these before.
Specifically, the hollow Kinder Surprise Eggs are prohibited in the States because they contain non-edible items inside of them. Here's the good news, though. A different version of Kinder Eggs called Kinder Joy should have become available in the US sometime in 2018. These also contain a surprise toy, but their packaging seals both halves of the hollow egg to keep the toy away from the rest of the candy, making them fully compliant with FDA regulations. Number 9. Sea turtles. Sea turtles are caught and killed for their meat. In some countries, they're even considered a delicacy. But you'd be surprised to know that they're caught and killed for meat.
Yeah, niggas eating turtles? Oh my gosh.
Even in the US. In 2007, the US Fish and Wildlife Service reported that conservationists estimated that 35,000 sea turtles are consumed annually in California alone. Now, according to Sea Turtle...
Why it just looks so wrong? Are we supposed to be eating turtles?
Conservancy, sea turtles are given legal protection in the U.S. and its waters under the Endangered Species Act. This lists the hawkbill, leatherback, Cam's ridley, and green turtle as endangered. The loggerhead is listed as threatened, though, so I think that might still be up for grabs. Number 8. Mangosteen. Mangosteen is a fruit that is enjoyed throughout Southeast Asia. It is highly coveted for its many healing properties that have been shown to successfully treat numerous diseases in Asia for thousands of years. Now I understand why the previous entries were banned, but why is such a beneficial, wholesome fruit banned as well? Well, as it turns out, it's not only us humans who enjoy eating this fruit. Asian fruit flies also find them very tasty. Until recently, it's been illegal to import it as a fresh fruit in the
Man, bump them fly, bro.
US due to fears that it could harbor the Asian fruit fly, which is something that could destroy US crops. Now, importation is permitted, but it must be controlled and irradiated by the USDA. Number 7.
Oh, so they're banned because they attract the fly? Okay, that makes sense.
The queen conch. The queen conch is a large marine snail that lives in the Caribbean Sea and adjacent waters, and is one of the most valuable fishery resources for every country throughout its range. And yes, people actually eat them. Just think of escargot, only, supersized. They're reported to be pretty tasty, actually. But unfortunately, commercial and recreational harvest of this animal is generally...
Yeah, I'll pass. I'll stay with my tilapia, I'll stay with my salmon, I'll stay with my cod, I'll stay with all that catfish. I'll stay away from it.
Banned in U.S. waters. Not because they're dangerous to eat, but because they're highly endangered. Queen conch populations are declining throughout their range and have been mostly depleted in some areas. They're highly sought after for their meat, and even though they are critically endangered, are one of the most valuable species in the Caribbean. Number 6. Beluga Caviar. As of 2005, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service has banned the importation of beluga caviar.
How do people eat caviar, bro? Like how? It's literally fish on.
As well as other beluga products, which according to a New York Times article, formerly had a price tag of $200 an ounce.
Okay, how delicacy is supposed to be. I will never eat no caviar, bro. Well, I can't say never, but I'll never consistently eat caviar.
The caviar comes from the wild beluga sturgeon fish, and is the primary reason why the fish has since become endangered. The ban was set in place in hopes of thwarting the species' extinction. But recently, beluga caviar has made a comeback in the US. Although it's still not allowed to import caviar that came from wild animals, that does not include fish raised in farms.
Ruining that ice cream.
There actually is a fish farm in Florida that raises 5 different species of sturgeon. Here they harvest and sell caviar legally. While they don't have any beluga sturgeon, the caviar they produce is as tasty, even though they aren't as pricey. Number 5. The Japanese pufferfish. This whimsical-looking fish actually houses an extremely poisonous toxin called tetrodotoxin in its skin and even in certain organs. This toxin is known to cause paralysis and even death. With this in mind, you may wonder, why would anyone want to consume this dish? Apparently, it's regarded as a delicacy in the sushi world where it's more widely known as fugu. Consumption of the fish is almost entirely banned in the US, with the exception of a few sellers who are permitted to have a license. Number 4. Horse meat. To be clear, it's not illegal to eat horse meat in the US.
Yeah. I've been a catch niggas eating horse meat. All the meat in the world you gonna eat the poor horse.
It is, however, illegal to slaughter horses, and by default prohibits the consumption of it, or at least makes it extremely challenging. That is, unless you're perfectly fine with eating the meat of a horse who has died of sickness or natural causes. Pretty appetizing, eh? No? Well, I figured as much. Former President Donald Trump renewed the ban on slaughtering horses for meat in March 2018. As is the case with other animals, it's not illegal or even taboo to eat horse in other countries such as China, which has one of the largest markets for horse meat. They have a large market for dog meat as well.
Bro, those Chinese people, they eat everything. Like, everything.
Well, but that's a totally different story. Number 3. Kasumarzu. Kasumarzu is often referred to as rotting cheese because there's really no other way to describe it. It is rotten cheese. However, they come with a surprise, like the gooey chocolate at the center of a Tootsie Pop. Kasumarzu's hidden surprise, however, is 100% less appetizing and 100% more alive. You see, Kasumarzu is intentionally infested with live maggots, so when you take a bite
That's heinous.
of this cheese, you get the whole shebang. Rotten cheese, live maggots, and if you're really lucky, maggot poop.
You couldn't pay me $10,000 to take a bite out of it.
The pecorino cheese, which is made from unpasteurized sheep's milk, contains the larvae of a particular fly. These maggots evidently facilitate the fermentation of the cheese. Once the larvae hatch, they begin to eat through the cheese, which effectively makes it softer. The cheese is then served with the maggots still lodged in it. Kasumarzu has been a tradition in Sardinia, Italy for many years. However, the EU and the US have banned the cheese for health reasons. Now it's time for today's best pick. Today's best pick is the running for the most unappetizing food item on this list. I'm torn between it and Kasumarzu. I mean, just look at it. It looks like a giant tick that's eaten so much that it started bursting at the seams. But it is food.
The cheese, whatever that cheese, that's the most heinous stuff I've ever seen.
And it's a delicacy in a very specific part of the world. What is it? Find out next with number 2. Haggis. Haggis is a savory pudding that consists of a mixture of sheep's heart, lung, and liver. All of your favorites. Yum. Oh, and it also contains...
Why would you eat that? Just eat the meat.
less exciting ingredients such as oatmeal, minced onion, suet, and
People always trying to just do extra stuff, bro.
stock. Pudding is typically presented and served to guests within the stomach of the sheep. Traditionally, it's consumed on Burns Night in Scotland, a countrywide event that honors Scottish poet Robert Burns. However, those of Scottish heritage living in the US cannot dine on haggis due to the ban that the USDA placed on the sale of sheep's lung 48 years ago. The ban was set in place in light of the emergence of the degenerative disease scrapie, which affects the central nervous system in sheep. Before we move on, do me a favor. My analytics show that only about 15% of you watching are actually subscribed. Come on guys, what's up with that? Can you guys please hit the subscribe button? You guys watch my videos
Man, trying to plug himself.
every day anyway, so you might as well subscribe and keep up to date with every video we put out. Number 1! Pig's blood cake. Just so tasty. This is something that definitely is named after its ingredients. Pig's blood
That's heinous.
The cake is literally solidified pig's blood, usually served on a stick. Think popsicle, but less cold and sweet and more repulsive and vomit-inducing and copper-tasting. They're considered as street food delicacies in various Southeast Asian countries such as Taiwan and the Philippines. In fact, I have a Filipino friend that swears by them.
Telling you, bro, they eat everything.
But coming from a guy who eats boiled fertilized duck eggs and live mangrove worms, I gotta say that my tastes greatly differ from him. If you're hearing this, I love you, man. Just not from me. I'll happily take a fudgesicle or a lollipop. It's banned in the US because the USDA deems its preparation to be highly unsanitary. Trust me, we're not really missing out.
Alright, that's the end of that video. I was low-key getting a little stressed out watching that. That was some heinous food on that video. It's crazy what all these people be eating. I couldn't eat this stuff if you pay me a lot of money. But hey, it was pretty interesting to see. But yeah, like and subscribe, and I'm out. See you, Burmese.